Time magazine is still the biggest thing in his life. And then obviously Jimmy Kimmel, SNL, if they insult him, he gets really angry about it.
Yeah.
I'm so new to him that he's just like, that guy. You know what I mean?
I have a little extra something with him because he used to really like me.
You have like a feud with him. You have like a real. So here's what I've noticed. Like Trump's annoyance at people is directly proportional to how big they were when he like focused on the media.
I'm not sure exactly why, and I broke his little heart somehow. I think that he's.
You realize you could rekindle a friendship and change this country?
Oh yeah, no. Well, I don't think it would change the country. I know I could rekindle the friendship.
Did you see Trevor Noah and Jimmy Kimmel absolutely destroyed Trump on national television? They compared his speeches to a buffering YouTube video while millions watched and laughed. Trump's reaction is exactly what they predicted.
Yeah, I don't know why he's sticking with that story, though. At least the lie is consistent. He did say some bad things about you on.
I don't know. I don't keep up with
it.
Weird.
Yeah. I don't know why he's sticking with that story, though. At least the lie is consistent in that case. Did you ever have Trump on the show?
No, we never.
An angry all-caps meltdown that only proves their point. These comedians didn't just make jokes. They performed a surgical takedown of the man who thinks crowd size is the measure of success. The way they exposed his third-grade vocabulary is honestly the funniest thing you'll see this week. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
How are you doing since you left the show? Are you experiencing feelings of depression, anxiety, hopelessness? Is it?
You know what? I'm good. I miss the vibe. You know, like days like today. Obviously, you know, you watch Trump at a rally and he's dancing for 40 minutes.
With one compliment, that would be all it takes, and that's why he's such a terrible choice for president, because you can turn him around with a simple comment. I mean, he loves people he hated 5 minutes ago.
One hug, Jimmy. One hug.
One hug.
Ever notice how Trump talks like someone who just discovered adjectives yesterday but can't remember how to use them? It's that special mix of tremendous and the best, sprinkled with absolutely zero coherent thoughts that's become his signature style. The man can start a sentence about foreign policy and somehow end up talking about how toilets don't flush properly anymore. Trevor Noah and Jimmy Kimmel have turned Trump's word salad into a comedy buffet. While most political commentators scratch their heads trying to decipher what the orange man is saying, these late-night hosts grab their comedy scalpels and dissect his language with surgical precision. Noah absolutely nailed it when he compared Trump's speeches to a browser with 57 tabs open, but the one playing music is buried somewhere under nonsense. Anyone who's watched a Trump rally knows exactly what this means. He bounces between topics faster than a toddler on a sugar rush. 1 minute he's talking about China, then suddenly he's complaining about windmills causing cancer, and somehow ends up bragging about passing a cognitive test where he identified an elephant. Kimmel isn't any gentler, joking that Trump treats eloquent like some fancy French cheese he can't pronounce.
Well, but for the most part, no. I'm traveling more. I'm enjoying being on the road. I get time to write books, try other things. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about your book because I read it to my kids last night. I want to give you their review on it, but
I mean, like days like today, obviously, you know, you watch Trump at a rally and he's dancing for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I miss that.
You miss that, yeah.
Yeah, because that's just free content. That's like one of those things where you go like, wow.
Eloquent? What's that? Sounds suspicious. I prefer American words, big words, the best words. The comedian compared Trump's speech patterns to a buffering YouTube video. You get the first few seconds of a thought, then it freezes, skips ahead to a completely different topic, and you're suddenly hearing about how unfairly he's been treated by the fake news media. Both comedians have pointed out Trump's bizarre obsession with using superlatives for everything. Everything is the biggest, best, or most incredible in Trump's world. As Kimmel joked, Trump's teleprompter must have an autocorrect setting for maximum incoherence, creating speeches that sound impressive to his base, but mean absolutely nothing when you actually analyze them. What's truly fascinating is watching these comedians identify patterns in Trump's speech that even Trump doesn't realize he has. They're like linguistic detectives who can predict exactly when he'll abandon a thought halfway through, when he'll insert a random brag about his crowd sizes, or when he'll invent a word that doesn't exist. Those predictable speech patterns revealed something far more valuable to comedians than just material. They exposed the blueprint to Trump's fragile ego. Ever wonder why a billionaire ex-president spends his days rage typing about comedians instead of enjoying retirement? Because Trevor Noah and Jimmy Kimmel found his emotional self-destruct buttons and pressed them with surgical precision. Trump's obsession with crowd sizes might be his most hilarious weakness. Noah nailed it when he joked that Trump could be receiving devastating medical news, but would still ask the doctor, "Was it the biggest diagnosis you've ever seen, doctor?" This isn't just funny, it's a perfect dissection of a man who measures his entire self-worth through other people's attendance records. But Kimmel took his comedy scalpel to an even more sensitive spot: Trump's bizarre victimhood complex. Picture this: a man living in a literal golden tower with billions in the bank, supposedly, somehow convinced he's the most persecuted figure in human history. Kimmel brilliantly compared Trump to a lottery winner who still complains about taxes. That's Trump in a nutshell, the luckiest guy in the room, always whining about how unfair everything is. What happens after these comedians hit these sore spots? Pure comedy gold. Trump's reactions follow a script more predictable than a Hallmark Christmas movie. All-caps social media rants at 3 a.m., emergency phone calls to Fox News, and infantile nicknames for his critics that sound like they were brainstormed by a sugar-high third grader. The greatest irony, which both comedians gleefully pointed out, is that Trump constantly brands his opponents as weak while displaying the emotional resilience of wet tissue paper. As Kimmel noted, the man who projects strength crumbles instantly when faced with even mild criticism. You could set your watch by how quickly a comedian's joke transforms into a presidential meltdown. This comedy feedback loop is perfect. Trump does something bizarre. Comedians point it out. Trump responds with a tantrum that proves their point, which gives them fresh material. It's like watching a cat chase a laser pointer, except the cat thinks he's winning. Every time Trump unleashes another social media tirade about being mistreated, he's essentially handing Noah and Kimmel pre-written material for their next show. They've created a perpetual comedy machine where their target continually confirms their punchlines through his own behavior. Most politicians learn to laugh off jokes, but Trump's inability to ignore even the smallest jab has turned him into comedy's most reliable straight man, though he'd hate that description almost as much as a half-empty rally venue. The funniest part of this whole comedy saga is that Trump genuinely believes he's walking away as the winner. Every time he throws a tantrum after a joke, he's basically sending Noah and Kimmel a thank you card with fresh material attached. It's like watching someone trip over their own shoelaces while insisting they meant to do that. What separates Trump from literally every president before him isn't policy, it's his complete inability to laugh at himself. Abraham Lincoln kept a folder of critical political cartoons to show visitors, laughing at the bizarre ways he was portrayed. Meanwhile, Trump's getting his feelings hurt by jokes that wouldn't faze a middle schooler. His thin skin reveals more about who he really is than any campaign promise or policy position ever could. These comedians aren't just entertaining us, they're performing a public service by using humor to cut through the political noise. When the audience laughs, they're also seeing the truth. Grumpy Trumpy might hate it, but comedy has always been democracy's secret weapon against absurdity.